That's right, I've decided to upgrade my everyday carry pocket carry pistol, guys. And today we're talking about why I think the Ruger LCRX is exactly the pistol for your pocket. How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of Coffee Talk. My name is Chad and this is the Hopeful Homestead. You're outside right now with me at my little campsite next to my tiny cabin on wheels that I've parked out here on my family's 21 acres that we're calling the Hopeful Homestead. We're going to be building our forever home on here over the next year. In this series of videos, I like to sit out here with a cup of coffee in my hand, talking to all the husbands and dads out there. I like to think I'm talking to all the men about all the difficult things in life we have to deal with. And as we often do, we're talking about firearms again today. Specifically about the Ruger LCRX and why I think it's the absolute best pistol to carry for pocket carry in today's modern world. The Ruger LCRX kept in this little pocket holster. I love this little pocket holster. It's what I carried the Colt in, and it's what I'll carry this Ruger in. But I'm gonna go ahead, this is loaded, I'm gonna go ahead and unload this one. So completely empty, as you can see. Completely empty, no bullets. If you don't know anything about the Ruger LCR, there's the LCR and the LCRX. The only differentiating factor being that the LCRX has a hammer you can cock for single action cocking. You can actually, pull that and be able to use single action for more precise accuracy and a lighter trigger pull, which I wanted to be able to have that. I didn't want to have just the only double action functionality of the LCR that has has the internal hammer. And yes, some claim that, having the internal hammer is safer and better for pocket carry because you can ensure that that hammer won't snag on your pocket when you're drawing it. But just look at how tiny that hammer is right there. That hammer is not going to, for what you're sacrificing in the ability to have, a single action capability, it's not worth it to me. I will practice drawing this in such a way that I can ensure that this won't snag. And I choose pants and shorts that have particular sized pockets with particular oriented openings that are conducive for pocket carry. Old Navy makes a lot of Old Navy and Wrangler make some good options that have more top opening pockets rather than sideways opening, if you know what I mean, like to where you're pulling the gun vertically out of the pocket instead of pulling it out and back. Things like that you have to think about when you're deciding to pocket carry. For me, having the right kind of pants with the right kind of pockets allows me to still have the functionality of the single action exposed hammer. I want to be able to, if I'm in a pinch, obviously if I'm in a situation where I need to be able to draw and fire rapidly real quick, I still have the double action capability for that. And in a situation where if I'm trying to hit a target from a little bit greater of a distance and I've got a little bit of advanced notice, I want to be able to have that ability to draw my gun, pull the hammer, and aim and be ready to go with better accuracy than I would be with, in a stressful situation trying to accurately pull a double action trigger pull where it's a heavy poundage typically for that double action pull. It's nice having I personally, that's why I love having a snub nose revolver for pocket carry over a semi-auto pistol. I like having the option. I like having the ability to pull the hammer and be able to have that light trigger pull that's very accurate, but also have the ability to have the double action trigger pull that allows me to fire in a semi-auto fashion very quickly. So in a pinch, if there's a threat right up on my person, I can draw this and I can pull that double action trigger as fast as I want to shoot as many rounds off quickly right in the torso if I need to. And if I have a chance to be able to step back with a little bit of distance, I can draw, point, and pull that hammer and get an accurate shot off without feeling like I have to potentially miss because I'm stressed, and just pulling that double action trigger pull might actually result in me raising the gun up and missing high or something. I like having the option of this, where with a semi-auto pocket pistol, you don't have the option of that. It's just the way the gun shoots is the only option you have. And I like the fact that this has a transfer bar. I can have full ammo load in this. This is a 5-shot, so I can have all 5 rounds in here and not feel like I'm at risk of the gun going off on accident. I don't feel necessarily safe with a striker fired pistol in my pocket with a round in the chamber with the striker in the cocked position. I don't necessarily feel, yes, there's a lot of people who talk about and make a good case for that being perfectly safe. I personally just don't enjoy that form factor. When you got something like this out there that allows you to be able to have something very safe that can still work. And not to mention the fact that snub nose revolver, many people talk about this online, you can shove this into you. If your attacker is on top of you and even tackling you, you can pull this from your pocket and shove this up against their body, and it would pull that double action trigger and it will fire. regardless of how hard you're shoving it onto the actual target. With a semi-auto pistol, if that slide is depressed in any way, you're not going to get any rounds off. So I like that about a snub nose revolver, specifically for pocket carry. Yes, I might carry something, you know, over the waistband, underneath a long shirt that's a semi-auto. Maybe I'm still thinking about picking up a Kimber Micro 9 again. I did like that one. I might pick that up and have that be a cross draw over the waistband holster, you know, scenario where I've got that under a long shirt at church for quick semi-auto capability. I won't keep a round loaded in the chamber for that. So I could have that be there for a scenario where I'm needing to address a threat where I've got some time to be able to rack the slide and get around into the chamber. But if I'm in a situation where I've got someone surprising me, I can draw this from my pocket or even shoot from the pocket with this with ease. That's one of the advantages of a snub nose revolver, is being able to fire it a lot easier from a quick scenario while keeping it safe when it's stored in your pocket, because of that transfer bar mechanism allowing you to have a round under the hammer without any worry. And not to mention, this is significantly lighter than the Colt Cobra. That was a light gun to begin with, but this is on another level. This thing it's got some sort of Parkerized finish on the steel of the frame, and then it's got, actually, from what I read, this from here forward, obviously the barrel and the frame around the cylinder is metal, but then it's a Parkerized finish. And then from here back into the grip and even the back part of the frame is polymer. It's plastic, so it makes it a very lightweight gun. The trigger guard is plastic, it's polymer. The grip, I love the ergonomics of this grip. This grip, the way that it contours on the back, these two little grooved notches for your two fingers, and then your pinky naturally rests underneath of it with a good grip. You have good purchase on this gun. And I've got big hands, and I've got a good purchase on this little snub nose, and that gives me a lot of confidence. And I've already shot this, just picked it up, but I've already taken a few shots with it, and it is very accurate. It's got, if you haven't noticed, it's got a nice big deep groove for rear sight that is notched in the back, and you've got a nice pronounced front sight that actually has white paint that is grooved on that, so that it's very, very, very easy to see in any kind of lighting scenario. I love the fact that this is obviously very accurate. Now that I've tested it, it's very ergonomic. It fits in the hand incredibly well, and I just really enjoy it. I'm surprised at a modern firearm. As many of you know, I love classic firearms. I love wood and steel, and this is about the only gun that's got a lot of plastic on it that I actually enjoy carrying and shooting. It came recommended by a lot of you, and a lot of people out there were saying they carry Ruger LCRs for pocket carry, and I've really enjoyed this thing so far. And it feels, it's a little bit more slimline, being that it's a 5-shot cylinder instead of a 6-shot, and the frame is a little bit slimmer, and the rubberized grip allows for this with that pocket holster to not move around in my pocket. That was one of the problems that I had with the Colt, is it would drift around in the pocket and sometimes end up in like a sideways position where it's printing like crazy in your front pocket. So this thing sits exactly how I place it in the pocket. It stays that way, and I really like that about this gun, while not printing as much because it's thinner and it feels lighter weight, and it's just, I don't even have to consider it in my pocket. It's just there, and it's at the ready, and it's not bothering me, which to me is one of the most important factors in the everyday carry firearm that you have. It's got to be a gun that you can carry in any type of clothing, in any type of weather, in any type of conditions, where it's just automatic, like your wallet, your phone, your keys. It's just automatic. It's something you carry with you every day, and that's where this comes in handy. You know, as I mentioned in my other video about snub nose revolvers, statistically, most gunfights in America end in the first 3 to 4 rounds being fired off. So a 5-round gun is going to have no problem being sufficient for the vast majority of self-defense scenarios. Just presenting a gun can thwart a self-defense scenario. So don't give me that crap about this not being a sufficient firearm because of its ammo capacity or, you know, whatever. I think it's a great gun that is honestly very capable and very economical as well, because it's only 400 something bucks. That's nice from a company like Ruger. That's a good price point. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks for watching all the way through if you did. Again, my name is Chad. This is the Hopeful Homestead, and if you feel like sticking around, I've got a video right here. That's that video all about why I carry a snub nose revolver for pocket carry. So go check that out, and I'll go see you in that video. Thanks for watching, guys.